Good afternoon, ladies and gents, and welcome back to the channel. Thank you very much for clicking that button and joining me for today's video. I hope you're all well. So as you can see, we're currently out in the woodlands once again, enjoying this absolutely beautiful weather we're currently experiencing. We have Jay and Bex in the background. They're currently doing a day camp. Jay's just dug out a Dakota pit, trying to boil some water there. And I'm out to show you something very specific. Now, if you follow the channel and you watch the last video, you'll see we did receive, very graciously I might add, a new e-bike to the channel. Now, today we brought the e-bike out and it's fully loaded on the rear cargo with all the camping equipment I intend to use in an upcoming video next week, doing a wild camp from an e-bike. So today we're going to go through all the stuff I've packed on the back of the bike and look at the bike and the gear in more in-depth detail. So the foundation on which this absolutely fantastic wild camping experience is going to be based on is again the Hitway BKU1. This is Hitway's budget commuter e-bike. This was reviewed last video on the channel, so if you want to have a look at a full in-depth review on this bike, you can go and check that out. But I've had some real great fun on this. Again, fantastic range, and it's a solidly built bike, which is why we are building and basing this wild camp kit on this bike. So the rear cargo carrier that comes with the bike is capable of holding loads up to 25 kilo. But the kit I've put on it is quite a comprehensive kit, and it includes shelter for myself and the bike, a full hot tent setup including titanium stove, full eating utensils and implements, and all the good stuff you require for a lovely night under the stars. Now, I will say nothing has been purchased specifically for this build. All of this kit already belongs to me, and it is just stuff that I've sort of repurposed, such as saddlebags and straps and bands, just to keep all the stuff secure on the rack. So let's dive in. Right, so first of all, the cover elements cover all the kits. On the bike is a large rain cover from a Savota backpack. So that just slips over the top, tucks underneath. It does block the rear light, but I don't plan on using the bike at night anyway, so that does that job. On top we have a strap, first of all, securing the hot tent and the hot tent stove. I'm not sure if I mentioned, but the rear cargo carrier has a load weight of 25 kilo, but I've managed to, all the kit I've got incorporated on the back here comes in at 5.5 kilo. So it is the majority of my lightest weight gear. So on the top we've got a compression strap from my racing simulator at home, holding my pedals in place. Spare one of them. So here we have the One Tigris iron wall. It's not the iron wall. Smoky huts. This again without the poles comes in at less than a kilo. With the poles probably around 1300 grams, 1.3 kilo. Then we have the winner well on top of that. This is their backpacking stove. This weighs in probably less than a kilo. We have the titanium foil chimney that you roll out, and the stove itself, extremely lightweight gear. Again, we've reviewed this on the channel, you can go check that out. Absolutely fantastic stove, no weight in that at all, and that will do the job of keeping you warm in the hot tents. We'll have a closer look at this and set it all up after I've shown you what's on the bike. You can see there, very solid rear cargo carrier, and on the side of this we have got my surplus to requirements. I think these are 12 litre each PLC personal load carriers from the Camo Sabre SF backpack, which we brought today, and I will be using in conjunction with this just to carry bits and pieces. So we have just zip tied this on with some strong zip ties, and we've got buckles on the bottom which we've secured around the frame as well. There's nothing in here that I'm worried about getting wet, so it's not really an issue if it does get wet. We can save a bit of weight by leaving the cover off, but again it secures the full load, so may as well leave it on there. Right, we'll bring you around, check out what's in the first pouch and then this one. So in the first pouch, these are just some nice chunky YKK zippers. We also have a couple of hangers off the side here. You could possibly hang a bit more gear on, but not necessary. So first of all we have the, which one is this? This is the Cedar Summit Etherlight XT air mat. This comes in at around 500 grams, so again extremely lightweight, and that is a full length air mat. We have the compression pillow and a couple of nighttime bits in there, because as we know in the UK, no matter what the season, nighttime is very chilly. So we've got a buff in there, a spare hat, headlight, which is an Ultralight Perrin 2, I believe. We've got the Trekology Airluft or Airluft Pillow 2, and a spare inflatable pillow just for between my knees when I'm lying on the floor, because it's not very comfortable for me personally, lying on the floor. So there we have that. I will say as well, obviously the pillow, it acts as a carry sack, so on this side it can hold all your personal belongings and your precious items, and inside, you flip that inside out, stuff that with clothing or leaves or whatever, and we've got a nice fleece lined pillow. Awesome bit of kit. Also in this pouch we have, so this is the DD Superlight Tarp 3x3. Just keep that in a camo bag there, and this is going to be shelter for the bike when we've sorted our own sleeping arrangements out, just in case of downpours. Obviously with it being an e-bike, I don't want things getting wet and rusty and destroyed. We also have in the other one, around to the other side, so still plenty of room in there for other bits of kit, although I don't really want to overload the bike. But I will say, riding it in, I didn't feel anything in there. Obviously with the electric assist on the bike, makes light work of everything. Now coming round to the second pouch. In this one, first of all, we have a large camo net. This again is to throw over the bike, and possibly large enough to throw over the tent as well, but this will just give the bike a bit of a camo look and help it blend into the area. We also have the grail. Now from personal use of this, I have palpitations every time I've got to use this, and I'm pretty sure this has rendered me absolutely ill the last couple of times I've used it. But we are going to give it one more chance, because I was drinking out of a very, very polluted water source. So we have the grail there, plus we'll also carry probably a litre and a half of water in the backpack. Coffees. Now, there'd be no point going camping if you didn't have the coffee, so we've got plenty of coffees in there, and a couple of guy lines are thrown in just to secure the chimney on the stove. Again, we'll put all this up after I've shown you, and then we'll go and have a brew with Jay and Bex. Next we have cooking. So everything required for cooking, obviously with a hot tent, is in this pot. So this is all titanium. First of all, we have the Windsor full splitter. If you follow the channel, you've seen this many times on many videos now. Absolute bomb-proof piece of kit, and it functions not only as a pair of grippers, but also your knife and fork afterwards. And then in this one is all titanium. Cooking gear, just stored away in a drawstring net mesh bag. So first of all, we have my Thai pan. I think that's what it was actually called. It's not made anymore, this one, but we have a wire handle bail there, and that's the lid for that. So we've got a nice little saucepan for cooking noodles, anything lightweight that we can store in the pouches. That again weighs grams, not a lot. And then we have the 750mm titanium pot with a securely fitting lid, and inside there we have a couple of titanium spoon and fork there. We have the Asoto Windmaster for quick brews, and the guard, and a small gas in there with a lighter. So pretty much everything we need there for a comfortable camp out in the woods. But I will also mention, if you follow me on socials, specifically Instagram, you'll see last week I did put a post of the bike on featuring a rather sexy looking front cargo carrier, front cargo rack. Now unfortunately for now, my dreams have been dashed. The rack was intended for carrying the Sabota roll mats and a bit more bedding. I did put my order in and paid for the item, and later received an email informing me that the rack was out of stock and they didn't know when it was going to be back in. So for now, any sort of extra bedding is going to have to be carried in my backpack. So we're going to have to keep that as little and as low weight as possible, because again we're going to be carrying water and food in there as well. So unfortunately there's only 2 manufacturers that can supply the rack that will fit this bolt mounting system here. So we had one called E-Bike, which is where I bought the rack from, and also Hitway's own basket, but it really does look like a basket, and we're not doing baskets on this channel. No way, not yet. Not until I'm at least 60, and then we'll consider it. So yeah, so we'll manage with that. We've got a mat in there, as I said, we've got the full length mat. We just need something to protect that. So I could possibly put the British Army bivy bag in there as well, just to protect the mat, and we should be good with that. Then we just got to think of cover on top, a lightweight cover. We've got the hot tent, so that should do the majority of keeping us warm. Right, let's put all this together so you can have a look at the system as it is. Right, so starting with the shelter, this again is the Smoky Huts from One Tigress. We have separate poles in there, a nice aluminium pole, very sturdy. But this is probably no more than a rain and wind shield. We don't have a base or a floor in this tent. We get a separate bag for pegs, but it is extremely easy to set up. It's just a matter of setting this out on the floor, pegging it out, and then putting the pole in, which we'll do now. So it really is pretty much as simple as that. We're just pegging out the sheet. We can go around again once the pole's in, just to reset them pegs if some of them aren't in the correct positions. What we're going to do now is unzip the tent. If you followed the channel, you've seen this a million times. When we are camping in this, we will not have the ankle breaking trip hazard at the door here. It's just the way the tent set up. And just find the point and push the pole in. Simple as that. Now, one nice thing with this tent, the Smoky Hut, if you do intend to use it with a hot tent stove, which is what the tent is intended for, we do have elasticated bungees on the ends of the cloth loops sewn onto the actual tent fabric. And if you're using this method, you do get a nice air gap under the tent all the way around, which guarantees you ain't going to die in your tent with carbon monoxide buildup. But if the winds do pick up and you do want to put this closer to the ground, you can use the cloth loops rather than the elasticated bungees. So the tent's now set up, ready for the stove. Now the doors on the tent can be both folded back, giving you plenty of room, but the tent is quite sizable for what it is. I've camped in this quite a few times, just found a few burn holes. But I've had this a few years now, done a few camps in it, and it's held up quite well. So with the stove, extremely easy to set up. This is basically just a lid, and this folds out pretty much the same way, well, the exact same way as all Winterwell stoves. It's just a hook and loop system. It takes literal seconds to get the stove set up, and despite its size, this generates some crazy heat. Wood goes on. Also, a nice thing with this, it can be used as a burning box. Legs simply fold out. Now, with it being so lightweight, obviously in a wind, that is going to be compromised. So Winterwell do supply some very thick, chunky titanium stakes for securing this to the ground. And we've also got the guy lines for the chimney. Obviously in extreme winds we wouldn't be using this, and would make sure that chimney is put away, because from past experience, the foil chimneys, the roll-up titanium chimneys, do not fare well. So, stove is now complete. You can put that into position. Right, tent's up, ladies and gents. So as you can see, extremely lightweight, probably the tent and the stove are coming in just over 2 kilo. We have it now guiding nice. That should make it a lot more sturdy. And again, regarding the size of that box, it's only tiny, but more than adequate to heat that shelter. It's bloody fabulous. Right, so next let's sort the bike out, show you how we're going to cover that up and camo it, and then we'll get some wood and get the stove going. Some parch, I need a brew. So in regards to the bike, I think what we'll do going forward is probably remove the battery, because you can remove that. Either take that into the shelter to keep it warm, or again, this tarp is more than adequate in size to cover the full bike. So the bike will just get covered up like so. Just protecting that from the elements. Got a couple of spare pegs there, we can peg that down. And then we can just add the net. I think the net's around the size of the bike, to be fair, so again, once all this is tucked in and made neater, that should be more than adequate. Now in this kit, ladies and gents, there are going to be no heavy bushcraft tools, no saws, and no big heavy knives, although probably wouldn't be a problem carrying it in the pack. But today and going forward, I think it's just going to be a small knife. Today we've got the GT Bushcraft feather cut, one of my favourite small knives, all one tool steel, really sharp, really nice blade. So we can snap sticks by hand, plenty thick enough, you know, to keep us warm in the night, and there's not much utility for a knife on this camp. It's going to be gas cookers, bit of food prep, so small knife is all you need really. So get this stoked. The thing with this stove is as well, it's such a small chamber inside, but it still allows for sticks of up to, let's say, 15, 16 inch. I should know. It's such a small chamber, it heats up really quick. And we don't have anything in the way of damping on this stove. It's basically just the front grate, open and close, and then let the chimney do the rest. But as I said, we've got plenty of ventilation around the tent here, and if the winds do pick up, when you put this down to slumber mode, you can close some of it down on the cloth loops. You can probably see some of them from the inside here, and that will close the tent fully to the floor. brew time. Yeah, that's it. Right, ladies and gents, so brew has been acquired. Got some noodles on the stove also. But I hope you've enjoyed this quick look at future camping gear setup. Like I say, I'm hoping to be using this in the next week or two. We are going to have to improvise with the blanket or sleeping bag, because again, I don't think I'm going to get the rack for the bike in time. But I think in the bag, if we keep other sort of non-essentials at bay, we should be all right there. But yeah, so I think all elements covered there. If you can think of anything, let me know. There will be a small medical kit in there, like a cuts kit and things like that, a couple of tablets, but I think for the majority of it, every base has been covered. As long as the bike doesn't fail me while we're out, I think we'll be good to go. But so far, it's proved itself reliable. Right, so I'm going to enjoy my coffee with Jane Beck's over there. But again, until the next one, you stay safe, and as always, stay crafty. See you again, guys. Bye bye.